So, because my accounting test is in the morning and my macroeconomics test is at night, my big focus tonight was to study accounting. So, I feel like I've mastered my accounting information. So, I feel like after this video, I'm going to do a Skullgirls video. And then after I do the Skullgirls video, I'll probably start studying into macroeconomics and getting that down pat. So right now I'm in my kitchen, mainly because I want to be completely away from my accounting study sheets as I tell you all the information that's on both my accounting study sheets verbatim from memory. Let's get started. So, how to find the total cost of a product using the ABC costing method. Look at the cost of the product under each individual activity and sum them together in order to find the total cost. Finding the allocation rate, which, if you guys saw some of the previous videos, I already talked about how to do that. The allocation rate is total cost divided by some cost driver. Now, there are two different ways that I can talk about the ABC costing method. One is math based, and one is like three sentences. We're going to do the math based one first. Identify your activity pool, then identify the total cost of said activity pool, then find a relevant cost driver. See how many of those cost drivers represent the product that you're looking at, and that'll represent your base. Do total cost divided by total cost driver. That'll give you your rate. We essentially just did the allocation rate formula there. Then you multiply your rate by your base, which I just told you how to find your base, and that'll tell you the allocated cost of that product for that activity pool. Then we jump into saying that in words without all the math stuff. So you essentially just say, you identify your activities in your activity pools, you assign um, your cost to the appropriate cost pools, and then you allocate cost using appropriate cost drivers. That is one side of one of my study sheets. Flip that sheet over mentally. Zoom. Relevant information is information that is future oriented, and it's information that is future oriented. Hold on, because my brain is still flipping the page pretty much. Future oriented. Oh, and differs among alternatives. Got them. Sunk costs are historical costs. Opportunity costs require some kind of sacrifice. Um, quanti- Qualitative factors are factors that cannot be quantified using numbers but are still relevant. Quantifiable factors can be measured in numbers. Then you have avoidable costs, which are variable costs that can be avoided. Then you have special order requests when a customer requests a product at a reduced price. When you look at this, you have to make sure that you have excess capacity. Excess capacity requires certain opportunity costs to be incurred. Then you have to think about how will this affect my relationship not only with the customer of which I'm doing the special order with, but with my other customers if they learn that I was able to give it at a reduced price to someone else. Then you have to look at segments. So segments are subunits of a business. When thinking about segment elimination, which of course would be getting rid of a subunit, you have to think about, will facility costs change? You have supply concerns. You have to think about employee morale. You have to look at relevant revenue. So that's the other side of that page. Now we have a whole other page. So let's look at the front side of that page. Um, and this will take a moment to load in my mind because I just did the back side of that page. So the back side is really fresh. But as soon as I can remember the first thing on the front side, I should be good. Let's see. Switching pieces of paper. This is in my brain, I think, is the hardest part because on the last thing, everything was one piece of paper, everything on one side, everything on the back side. I guess I can start with the back side of this page, but that seems really gross for me to mentally skip over a whole page side. So I really want to remember what that page was about because I feel like as long as I can remember the main theme behind that page, the whole page will load in, kind of thing. Kind of like how it took me a minute to look at the relevant information one. I had to remember Relevant information was the first one, how it was defined, and then afterwards it was like bam, 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 bam. Um, oh snap! It is that page. Um, but what's the very first thing? It's not that because that's the other side of the page. Um, oh right, right, right. It's all anyway. What's the first thing before that? Okay, yeah, I got you. So it's the effect of automation on overhead cost. So essentially, it eliminated direct labor hours. So then you go into the old way. The old way essentially allocated cost using direct labor hours, and it used volume based cost drivers. Then you have the new way, which allocates costs based on activities. So whenever an activity is done, a cost is incurred. Many businesses still do not use the new way because it requires you knowing what your activities are and how much your activities cost. Um, let's see, because that all goes together. Then we get into unit cost, which are costs that are incurred whenever individual unit is made. Then you have batch level cost, which are costs that are incurred when multiple units are made, and this is a fixed cost, so it doesn't matter how many units are produced; it's always the same cost for a batch level cost. Then you have a product level cost, which is a cost that's incurred whenever a specific product is made, and then you have facility level costs, which are costs that are incurred it's like factory cost. Yeah, it's costs that are incurred in the factory, and they help out with the productive process as a whole. So of course you can see how the levels like go up from just one product to being like cost of running the factory kind of thing. Now the back side of the page. Um, so total quality management, I believe. The T word is what threw me at the front because total makes it sound like it's more of a math thing than it really is. The total quality management is how close your product conforms to product specifications. Prevention costs are costs that are incurred before the product makes it to the consumer in order to ensure that the product conforms with product specifications so that the product doesn't fail in the hands of the consumer. Then you have external failure cost, which are when the product has already left you and gone to the consumer, and the product has not conformed to specifications, so it's failed in the hands of the consumer, and you incur a cost due to that. And then you have internal failure cost, which are when you're testing the product to make sure it conforms to specifications, but it fails the test, so you then incur a cost. Um, and that's it. That's that whole side of the page. So I just went over the front side and back side of page one of my accounting study sheet, then the front side and back side of page two of my accounting study sheet from memory, verbatim on the stream. Uh, well, I mean, this particular video wasn't live, but yeah. So I feel fairly confident about accounting. That was a little scary though. That moment of which I had to refresh my memory on like page sides, and thinking about it as multiple pages does get me. It seems like it was easy for me to remember what I was thinking of when I related it to. So, what subject is each page? So, I may label the individual pages and start associating all the information instead of being like, this is the front side of this page and this is the back side of this page, to this page is about product quality and this page is about the new way and old way of doing product costing. And this page is the math stuff is really easy. I organize all the math things together, so that page could literally just be like the math page, and then the other side of that page is kind of a cluster, because you can't say it's just about cost, but they don't all go together as well. That one page, the one that has relevant information as the first thing, like some of the things go together better than others. So I'll find some way to label that page and that information and associate it. But anyways, I think I'm ready to do some Skullgirls gameplay. So I feel like I've truly studied and prepared. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more content.